Hey guys, what's up? This is Nate with Android Authority. We just want to kind of give a quick recap. I went through a session earlier. This is my first I.O., which in turn this was my first session today. It was a Google Plus fireside chat. What that was there was a lot of people working on Google Plus in various areas of interest with Google Plus, and they just had a panel up on stage. They were just really opening it up to the audience for questions. What I learned as a user was that Google Plus is really meant to keep you socially engaged. To be a little bit personal, as an editor with Android Authority, sometimes we wonder why we can't just write on Android Authority and it populates directly to Google Plus. The reason for that is they don't want sites, not particularly us, but any kind of site to spam your stream. So you don't get inundated with information you may or may not want. Obviously you know that in your circles you can adjust how much information gets through. But another stopgap to that is they don't want certain sites just spamming your stream with everything. We get some questions where people ask us, why did I find it on the site but I didn't see it on your Google Plus stream? And part of that is because we don't want to spam you. And with Google Plus not making their API public to where sites can't automatically post to their stream, that's just another stopgap. That's what I learned as a user. Another thing is they want to learn as much about you as possible. That's why when you look at things like the maps, where it'll suggest things that your friends are interested in, like restaurants, they get that information from Google+. It's about knowing as much about you as humanly possible, or as googly possible, I guess we could say. That's just meant to enhance your experience. Another thing I took away from this conference is Google I/O is very developer-centric. As such, there's a lot of very technical questions that were going on in there. I don't necessarily know a lot about the developer side of tech. I know a little bit enough to where it makes sense to me, but in terms of getting very deeply involved, that's just not me, and it's probably not you. So that is something to keep in mind if you're ever interested in going to I/O. This is a developer conference. As such, the developers are the ones that need to learn and take away, and they're the ones that are going to be discussing a lot of what's going on here. So if things like coding and things like that don't make sense to you, you're really not going to learn a lot here.
And it's Joshua Vergara from Android Authority. What's going on, everybody? I too attended a session here at Google I/O. As Nate was saying, it's really not that kind of conference for a lot of users, consumers who are looking for products or the new announcements for particular devices, though that will happen at I/O from time to time. The vast majority of the conference that you're here for is for developing sessions. A lot of them are about creating software, best practices, different tips that you would have for it. In my case, I went to a session that was a little bit offbeat, which was nice. It was about leveraging YouTube for business. I figured I'd see what they had to say for that. For the most part, I will say, as a critique, it was pretty much, a lot of it was stuff that we kind of already know, but there were some nice tips in there. Like, for example, making sure to follow certain trends. They were telling people not to be afraid to follow particular trends that might be happening now on YouTube and just kind of use that to your advantage to gain more. For example, using a Harlem Shake like everyone did a couple months ago. But that was one of the tips. It was something that you kind of already know, but it is nice to be reminded that you can go that route if you want to have some fun with it. But for the most part, like Nate said, this really is not a conference for particularly everybody. It already costs a lot to come here if you're not press or anything like that. If you want to just attend as a patron, it costs $2,000, which actually for the most part was redeemed when they did give out all of those Chromebook Pixels to everybody. But it may not happen quite the same way for other I/Os. They do take care of you though. There's a lot here to partake in, like junk food on every single floor, free soda, free water, free food, all this stuff. Google really does take care of you. But just as a ploy to everybody that might be watching this, just letting you know, Google I/O is a lot of fun. But if you're coming here only for the fun stuff, it may not be particularly worth it, considering there are more people who come here because they're learning and because they're contributing to the Google space, to the Android space, to the Google Plus space, to the YouTube space even. It may not be quite for you, but we're here to let you know what's going on here at Google I/O, and we're having a lot of fun bringing all this content to you. So thank you for watching, and stay tuned because we got even more for you tomorrow at the last day of Google I/O 2013.
So guys, that's a quick rundown of what a session at Google I/O is all about. It's really about developers. So Josh and I are going to continue to roam around and find some more cool stuff to look at. So stay tuned to our YouTube channel and you'll see some really cool videos.